everyone! How are ya? This one is really influenced by my years as a specialist teacher.
I'm thinking about rewiring the education system and thinking about how fidgets fit into that picture.
But in general, we're up, we're moving, we're touching things, we're showing things.
What I'm hearing here is that actually it could be those low-level behaviours that we didn't quite notice.
It's like knowing when to sort of reevaluate it or push through.
What's something we can do together? So it's us before it's you.
So my favourite chapter, obviously, shock and horror, is routines, because I feel like every class deserves to have a really consistent, robust routine to thrive. I mean, I needed to thrive in my classroom, but I've just always found it just helps me as well as them in terms of like, this is how the day is going to go for me and for them. And I just could talk about routines all day. So I'm going to stop. I love a routine.
But I was going to say with that, like, I feel like routines was the way to unlock engagement for me, because until I had really, truly understood routines, I did not want them out of their seat. I was like, you just stay there, because I was like, what happens? What happens when they're not out of their seats? What does that look like? So I felt like I really needed to understand those robust routines so I could start incorporating more engagement strategies.
Routines give you a safety net as a teacher, I think.
Yes.
It lets you go out of your comfort zone because you know you can bring it all back.
Exactly that.
Yeah. Okay, question. So, I want to ask you, which routines gave you sort of the biggest confidence, you know, to take risks with engagement? That's my...
I love it. I love this. Okay, so the first one is visuals, because we know we read visuals 60,000 times faster than words, which Tan taught me. Which Tan did that in a TGMC workshop. I can't even remember when, years ago, and I was like, and ever since then, it's just been so integral.
Everywhere, they're everywhere. We like it's it's there.
Yeah. So often we rely on our words. It's like if we are doing a new engagement strategy. I remember when I first went to you girls are gonna I know you're gonna do it. I went to a training called Talk Less Teaching by Isabella Wallace, and she said, look, don't just try it once because it's not going to work. And I was like, I like the sound of that. But I think the problem is we rely on our words to carry that. So we're like, we're going to do a new strategy. It's called Jigsaw. What's going to happen is one person from every table is the messenger, and they're going to go around, and the kids are like, say what? And like, that is the worst possible way for them to process it, but also it's least likely to go to their long-term memory. So when you have, I remember when I first did this, it was reception, a mixed reception year 1 class, and I remember I had my PowerPoint up and I had drew the tables and the messenger, and I was showing them in each slide what was going to happen, and then I had it printed out so that they could see it, and I went around and showed them too. So I was like, Jill, coding, because otherwise I'm just relying on my voice and hoping that they are 100% with me. So I think visuals are amazing because they are doing the work for you and having that prompt. The next one is one of Evie's faves, a job spinner or class captain. And I still do this on training. I do. I'm like, you will be the class captain. Because it's really hard to manage it by yourself. And if you have class captains, it just means you've got 5 or 6 other children. And it don't, you know, even if it's reception year 1, they are going to serve. Who are going to support you. Who, even if it's just like, okay, class captains, make sure everyone's ready. Class captains, could you just hand these out? And suddenly it's not all on me.
I've introduced it with my year 1s this week, and I cannot tell you how excited they are.
Or you.
Or you. All of us together are extremely excited about the situation.
Get her
They can't wait
back
for the
immediately.
spin. When does it spin?
And the last one is an explicit attention getter. And sometimes this might be like a novel one. So if your go-to is hands on top, let's mix it up, Hans. Let's do a specific one. And I remember, like, I quite like having it like a call and response specific to what you're doing. I'm going back to the specific jigsaw that I did in reception year 1, and it was about Frida Kahlo. Love that curriculum. I love Frida Kahlo. But the call and response was Frida Kahlo, because it's linked to what we're doing.
Nice.
So make sure you establish that attention getter before you start, so it's really clear. And if it's a novel one, even better.
I mean, I could talk about routines all day, but I'm not going to. I'm just going to share my favourite one. But mine is tidy teams in early years, because your girl hates tidying. And I'm like, if I didn't make the mess, no thank you. But once I introduced tidy teams, I just felt like, you guys know exactly where you're going. They would like gather their crew together. Like, you're over there, Bobby. Da, da, da. And I loved it. And actually, half the time I just was like, this is wonderful. The classroom is so tidy. Picture, perfect. So I could talk about routines all day, but it's just so essential in my classroom for sure.
Yeah. And you were going to say about the difference, weren't you, of knowing when it's working?
Well, I think it's a question that's always cropped up about knowing when you've put a routine in place and it's like, this is going well for 5 minutes. It's like knowing when to sort of reevaluate it or push through. So like, I would love to know, like, what's your thoughts around that? Like, when do you know when it's time to keep going through that routine? Like, you're gonna get there, or it's like, yeah, let's just put this one in the recycling bin.
Yeah. Do you know what? I often think we feel like there's an expiry date with routines. We think, right, after week 1, it should really be done. But actually, we should always be asking, like, is this routine working? Like, I went into a school recently and she had asked them to get the whiteboards out, and the volume went up, started getting unsettled. Children didn't have the whiteboard pens. And sometimes you actually just think, oh, this is just life. But it doesn't have to be. That doesn't have to be life. That's not the routine working for you. If it's too slow, if it's clunky, if it's that part of your day where you're like, God, this is horrible, then that's not working. But again, it's theorized to systemize, because that's too vague. We can't just be like, okay, great, thanks, Jen. So in series 3, we talked about the 5 P's of the routine. And now I'm going to quiz you guys. No. So we did plan. So plan the actual routine. Precision, have I explicitly taught it? Practice, have I practiced it with the class? Perfect, is it perfect? And then the 5th one, which was yours, really, you really own this. Probe. Which is probe. And probe is all about thinking, okay, have I done the first 4 steps? Or did I really rush that teach? Or did I really rush that practice? Or did they actually perfect it? Or is it the wrong routine? And there's something weird about this with teachers, me included, where you feel like, no, it's not the routine. The routine's fine, it's you guys. But actually, it could be, we have to not be married to our routine. It could be the routine, guys. And there are a few factors here. It could be you're in a different space. So the actual classroom or the actual environment doesn't specifically work for that routine anymore. It might be that your class need a different rhythm. So I'm thinking in my head of a routine where my class love to be like silent worker bees doing their little tidy up, and another class who were like, we will not be silent. And with them it was like we had, music on and they're singing along and tidying. And it's about, again, that attunement and just taking that step back of, okay, do I need to let go of this routine? And I think it's important that every single class is an opportunity to look at that new dynamic. And I do get it's hard, because I've told you guys before and I'm not going to go into it, but I had a really good whiteboard routine. And I was like, I loved it so much. And I went to the next class and I kept practicing, and my TA was like, "Oh, that's not getting it." And I was like, "I know, it's their problem, isn't it?" And it really took me a long time to be like, I'm the problem. I'm going to change this up. So I think it's just so important just to have that step back.
I mean, yeah, I think the whiteboard situation is a proper trigger. It's PTSD memories. I mean, if you do phonics, you'll know.
Exactly. You've got to get it right.
So I think it's so important to just reevaluate, try something new, and also collaborate your children in it, involve your kids and ask them, like, what's a better way that we can do this? Especially for the older ones, you can ask them, this isn't working. Do you guys have an idea or any way that we could do this better? Like, should we introduce class captains as well? And yeah, I just think it's okay to let it go, I think.
It is, my darling.
So okay.
It is.